Hello and welcome to Blood on the Tamesis, the Prelude of Silas Shaw. With me today is...
Philip, who will be playing Silas Shaw.
So this is a special episode where we are going to get to meet one of the main characters of Blood on the Tamesis and find out a bit about them before they became a vampire. So without much further ado, we're going to get started. But before we do, I just want to get Phil to tell you a little bit about what Silas looks like so you can picture him in your minds.
So Silas is about mid-20s, about 6 foot, fairly stocky build, fairly easy on the eyes. Usually wearing I'm guessing a polo shirt underneath a bomber jacket, and his trilby.
Okay, so we are starting play in the UK in Oxfordshire in the year 2000 on September 7th. And we're going to get straight in. So you are in a very dark library, lit only by the light of your flashlight that you're carrying. There are thick cobwebs across the books, very heavy dust caking everything. And as you walk, the floors creak beneath your step. Everything is old and worn, but you know what you're looking for. And when you have finally found the book, as the light from your torch scans across it, you see the familiar symbol on the spine, and you reach out to take it. But as you do so, you become aware of something else which looms out of the shadows behind you, ready to strike. What do you do?
Lunge for the book, tucking it under an arm as I'm rolling, hopefully out of reach of whatever this thing is.
So you grab the book, you tuck it under your arm, and you roll. And as you roll, the creature's arm, which is this big, thick, kind of scaly thing with clawed fingers on the end of it, swipes where your head used to be and strikes the bookcase. And the bookcase totters and then falls. And there is a thunderous crash as one bookcase hits the next, sending kind of dust up into the air. You have come up from your roll and you're sprinting away. The monster, catching the movement suddenly of the light and you, roars and begins to give chase. Up ahead of you, you can see the door. And you've made a good kind of head start on the monster. But as you're reaching the door, a second creature, humanoid, scaled, several eyes, certainly more than two, that reflect in the light, and a maw of teeth, steps into the way of the door. What do you do?
So as I'm kind of dodging out, moving out of the way of the big one, coming up behind me, but as kind of moving to the side, finger rest and bring out one of the sheath blades, and if I'm close enough, I'll be able to cut across it. If I'm not, it's a throw directly.
Oh no, you're quite close. You're running right at it. So as you're approaching, book under one arm, you flick out a knife, strike for the monster, and you kind of you cut into it, and you feel it kind of slam against you, but you have enough momentum to carry on through the doorway, leaving the monster to gurgle its last, quite dramatically. And as you step through the door, it's gone one way, like, and like blood. And then as you're reaching to slam the door, it kind of cuts back past the doorway again, like.
Another knife.
You land another knife in it, and you slam the door before the first monster can arrive, and you are safe. And you hear, and cut! And everything starts to wind down. The director, Rena Tamworth, comes over, and she's like, yeah, that's fine, Silas, you can go. And as she's passing you, she opens the door back into the set where the library was, and the monster that you had done she's like, Mark, what the fuck was that second stagger? Stop trying to steal extra time on camera. Get out of costume, fuck off. And he's like, he kind of goes walking off, his monster head hanging slightly shamefully. As you're making your way off the set, you see a man who is very similar in build and height to you. and he looks to be in his kind of mid to late 40s. In his youth, he was quite a looker, but now he's kind of holding on to it with a sort of combination of surgery and makeup. And his name is Chris Miley. And Chris comes up to you, says, nice job, kid.
Thank you.
He says, trust Mark, eh?
Yeah, it's he's wanting that more. He likes that. He likes those costumes anyway. So
He likes them too much. I think he was trying to take one home the other day.
probably it wouldn't surprise me.
Can I have the book? I need to do my triumphant return scene.
Yep.
Oh, I heard you might be going for this audition on Monday for the detective show.
Yes. We'll see how it goes, but yeah.
Well, I can't say I blame you wanting to get out of this place. But look, between you and me, I would keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Because he looks over to where the library scene was and where there's various conversations going on. He says, I think Rena wanted to direct that show and she's not been brought over. So touchy. Yeah. So keep it under your hat. Yeah. All right. I'll see you later.
See you later.
So he makes his way off. So you leave the set. It's the end of the week. Your audition is on Monday. How would you like to spend your weekend?
Mostly going over the stuff preparing for again phone call parents, make sure they are that they're doing okay.
Silas, says your mum.
Hey mum.
How's it going?
It's going well. It's going well, thank you.
And they're not hurt. You're not getting hurt or anything again, are you? Because last time you were down, you had all those bruises, and I didn't like it.
Oh no, I'm fine. I'm fine. Trust me. It's the bruises are an unfortunate part of the job, as with any job.
Well, true, but I don't think it's a healthy job where you get hurt as part of it. I don't think you should get that into your mind as a healthy thing.
I'll be fine. It's only when I've made a little mistake or two.
You hear a grumble on somewhere else in the room on the other side of the phone saying a few knocks are fine. It's part of the job.
Yeah.
Don't you encourage him. So, you were saying you've got something coming up. Has that happened already, or is it?
No, it's Monday. Monday I'm going for it.
Well, we'll be keeping our fingers crossed for you over here.
Thank you.
And make sure that you make sure you're on time.
Of course, always.
And I think setting a good impression is very important with these kinds of things.
Yes.
All right. Well, do let us know how it goes.
I will do.
We'll be cheering you on from here.
Thank you.
All right then.
Love you, Mum.
Love you too. Go on. Bye.
Bye, Dad.
All right. So you're getting ready to start your prep for the weekend and kind of go over lines. On Saturday morning, you get a call from someone you recognise as Stephen Chambers.
Yep.
Hi, is that Silas?
Yes.
Hi, Silas. Look, I was wondering if I could call in a favour.
Yeah. What do you need?
Oh, one of our guys, Mr. Jones, he's not long come out of hospital. He had a fall. He's all right, but he needs a bit of settling in, and I'm going to help him, but we need to fix a few things up in his place so he's okay there, and I just don't want him to be alone for a while. He's been a bit scared. I was wondering if you could just come and lend a hand.
Yeah, I can lend a hand for up until midway through Sunday.
That will be great. That will be so good. Thank you. Yeah. Look, I'll send you the address. I'll text it over, and I'll meet you there. Okay.
All right.
Oh, you're a good man. Thanks, Silas. Thank you.
Welcome.
So you spend some time. So Mr. Jones lives in a house in some ways that is slightly too big for him, but also is nevertheless absolutely chock full of guff, stuff that he has bought, collections of things, boxes of things, clothes that he hasn't worn in years. There's lots of stuff to rearrange and sort out, and to make lots of very safe, kind of clear ways. Yeah, I mean, the house is a mess. It is a wreck. He's obviously let it kind of go. So you and Steve spent some time doing that. But also there is work to do things like fixing an extra bar in the bath so he can lower himself in safely, making the stairs safer, things like that. And of course, he knows you're quite handy, so he gets you to kind of help out with that. So you spend quite a lot of your time doing that. Stephen will go on the Saturday, so you'll be there on Sunday with Mr. Jones. And Mr. Jones is quite chatty, actually, and seems to enjoy having you around. Are you attempting to be kind of friendly or non-committal? Or?
I'm certainly being friendly. I'm being quite friendly and warm, but not to the point of saying, "Oh, I'll do this, and this."
Okay. Can we just have a brief bit of social combat between you and Mr. Jones? So I would like you... So Mr. Jones, he's like, "Oh, it's been so good having you here. I was just thinking about that cupboard there. It's got a wonky shelf on it, and I think it might fall down, and there's glass in that, and so on." So if you could just make a quick, let's say, charisma and persuasion.
2.
Are you sticking with 2? I'm just doing that ST thing where I have to always check, do you want to spend that? You could always spend that willpower now if you want.
Oh, why not?
Okay.
Because it's scaring me. Still 2. Damn it.
Okay. Despite Mr. Jones's best efforts, you sap the last of his willpower, and he gives in. He concedes pretty quickly. But he is genuinely grateful for all the help that you've given. You suspect he might have been making a play to make you stay a bit longer, but actually he understands about the audition, and he'll even wish you luck for tomorrow when you go. So when you do leave and you check your phone, you will have a missed call from Jenny.
I call her straight back.
Hi, Silas.
Hey, Jenny, how you doing?
Oh, don't ask. It's been a shit week. I was just thinking, how are you doing? I've been trying to reach you. I understand you've got an audition coming up, and it's a big one.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it a little on the down low, but
Nothing gets kept on the down low around here.
Well, yeah, you do your best, but.
So look, where are you?
I'm currently more on the way back to my place at the moment.
All right. Well, I wondered if you wanted to have some help with the practice.
Sure, if you want to meet up.
Yeah. Well, how about I come to your place?
Sure.
You get the ice cream, and I'll make sure you're shipshape before the audition.
What type of ice cream do you want?
Well, let's play it safe. Let's get salted caramel and, I don't know, chocolate fudge brownie.
Okay, okay. I'll get them.
So, you pick up the ice cream.
Yep.
You meet at your flat. Shall we say also your flat is a fairly pokey little flat in Oxford. But so is Jenny's, so that's fine. Yeah. So she will open up the ice cream. She'll say, "So how's the practice going?"
I've done a little bit, not as much as I would like to at the moment. I've been helping Stephen with.
Silas, you can't. This is a big deal. I know. You've got to be focused. Okay, right. This is serious. She gets the script. Yep. Oh, she says, "So you're a detective, right?" And then she'll start going into some audition practice. So 2 tubs and some hours later, Jenny is satisfied that you're probably ready for the business. And she says, "And when you are a megastar, make sure you help me get an audition as well."
Of course, although I am certain you'll be the megastar before me, and I'll be asking you for the help.
Just as long as I'm not chorus girl for the next 10 years.
Oh, no, you won't be. I believe in you.
All right. Break everything tomorrow.
I'll try not to break the auditioners.
No, smash it, and I'll see you. And let me know how it goes.
Yeah, and stay safe as well. Keep yourself on.
I'll be fine. It's you I'm worried about. So she'll leave you to it. You set off to the audition. You have plenty of time. Traffic is kind. You arrive, you park your car, and can you make a wits and awareness roll for me, please?
2.
So when you park your car and you get out and you're like straightening your clothes and getting psyched up, ready to go in for the audition, and you're in the car park, you have this uneasy feeling. Now, an uneasy feeling is in some ways understandable when you know you're nervous, but something about this feels odd. You feel, despite the kind of the bright day, a sort of a little shiver run down your spine. It takes you a little while to realise that you are being watched. And from across, or like on the opposite side of the car park near the main building itself, you can see a white cat that is watching you.
Okay. Lock the car and just say, make sure. Try and get into the building without passing the cab.
Sure. So you lock the car up. You start walking towards the building, and as you're walking towards the building, the cat, from its position, very leisurely walks across as if it's walking towards the door. And then, like, as you're getting nearer the door and it's getting nearer the door, it does one of those like cat like stretches and then scurries a little bit faster. Are you going to race the cat to the door? If you go at your current pace, the cat will win. Or are you going to allow the cat to beat you to the door? These are the questions that we have to answer.
I'm going to try and beat the cat.
Okay.
But I want in this damn door.
So you run across the car park, and as you're running, the door opens in front of you, and you see someone in just like a shirt and trousers with a clipboard, and they like double take at you, like ah, and you like arrive, and they're like, "Are you all right?"
I'm fine. I'm fine. Just psyching myself up, ready for inside. Don't worry, I'm fine.
You're psyching yourself up.
Yeah, it's a little bit of light exercise beforehand. A little bit of a light jog.
Right. Okay. Can you make a charisma and subterfuge roll for me?
Yeah, but oh boy. Yeah. 1.
Okay. They say, all right, whatever you say. What's your name?
Silas.
They look at your thing and they make some kind of little mark on the clipboard and say, it's this way. The cat, incidentally, is sat. You know when it's stretched, it looked like it was going to scurry? It seems to have just gone back to sitting, just watching you. So you go in. The audition goes reasonably well. Things are running pretty much the time. You have the audition. You feel like it wasn't bad. You're kept waiting for a while afterwards to find out, kind of. Yeah. And in the end, the person with the clipboard, who's left you waiting for quite a while, and the afternoon's dragged on, you're aware of the time, comes and says, we haven't made any final decisions yet, but we'll be in touch. Sorry to keep you. We thought we'd have a decision by now, but...
That's fair enough. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
See you later.
Thank you very much again.
So, you leave.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting dark now.
Yep.
It's not nighttime yet, but it's evening. And you're aware that it is going to be a little tight. And in fact, as you are making your way out of the building, someone hurries past you in a bit of a rush. What's your intelligence? And I guess you could either take perform or academics.
And that would be, I'd go for the performance, that'd be a total of 5.
Is that halved? Or that total?
That's total.
So 2 to the... Yeah, you will recognise them actually. They're one of the producers for your current show.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like they're also tied into this in some way. And you see them hurrying over to the car park to their car. They look like they're like sweating the time a bit as they go. You will also notice, unless you're running across the car park as well, because they'll get to their car first, that sitting on their car is the white cat.
Okay.
It's not looking at you this time, it's looking at them.
No, I'm almost going to go to my car, but just kind of keep an eye on him.
Okay. So you're watching, the producer gets to... you know the name's Robert Sherman, by the way. He's kind of a guy in his mid-50s. He's quite... I mean, I say he's a biggish guy. He's not a biggish guy like you're a biggish guy. You've got like a kind of... You're stocky, but you're also built. He's just someone who's just quite a big guy. You know, he's eaten well. And he does not look like a happy man. When he gets there, he's hurriedly opening the door. He throws a case into the car, and he says, and he basically is like, "Get off the bloody car!" And he like waves at the cat. The cat does get off the car, but proceeds to like flick its tail in its general direction, and he jumps into the car, starts it up at some pace, and is pulling out and heading off. You obviously will have reached your car at this point, and you will
head off as well.
So you're driving along. Now then, next question. You are going to be late to your shoot. Unless you're willing to go for it.
And I'll go for it.
You're going to go for it. Okay. So for your go for it roll, I would like you to make a dex and drive, please.
Ooh, 3.
Are you sticking with 3?
I'll stick with 3.
Okay. You are bombing it, and you're weaving the traffic. Traffic is still quite heavy at the moment, but you've got the skills to handle it. You've got a car. Your car moves nicely as well. You've tuned it well. It responds. You know exactly how it handles. You're flying down the motorway, and you are thankful for the really excellent brake pads you've put in that are new, and how good condition your car is in, and the tyres, because you realise in the last minute that there is an accident happening in front of you as you're driving along. You see a car lifting off the road slightly to come down again. You see other cars skidding. There looks like there's some kind of pile up that you're about to come straight into, and you jam on the brakes and you stop with maybe a couple of feet between you and the next nearest car. What are you doing?
I'm gonna be. Does that look like there's anyone who's in? Isn't like anything like fire or anything like that at this point?
Are you going to get out of the car and look?
Not at this point.
So you're staying in the car and just trying to see what you can see.
Yeah.
So when you peep out, there's a car or two ahead of you, and then you can see where like the actual crash has happened. You're a little bit away from where the impact was. You just haven't gone into the back of anyone. And you can see that there is a car that looks like it is not, like it's been turned over slightly and then come down again, but not come down on a flat road, like it's at an angle. You think maybe partly on another car, perhaps? You can't see any flames from where you are. But yeah, so are you thinking I'm going to just stay here?
I'm thinking about how can I get around this, because
you're like, oh yeah, and actually it doesn't look like there's a quick. Well, you could maybe go onto the hard shoulder and try and get around, but it will be awkward because there is a car partly on the hard shoulder. You might catch some scrapes. You could do it though. You might get away with it if you maneuver perfectly.
I'll try and maneuver, and there's going to be emergency services on the way there. There's nothing.
So as you start to drive around, you will recognise one of the cars in the crash. It is Robert Sherman's car, and his is the car you will now realise that went up into the air and came down.
At that point, I'll stop the car, get out, and hurry over to where he is.
So you stop your car, you get out, you start hurrying across. The other car there's a couple of other cars that have been involved in the crash, but they don't seem to have been as bad, and people have been getting out and getting away from the vehicles. You can smell petrol. You think that at least one of the cars is leaking petrol. You can still hear an engine chugging in Robert's car. He's quite a distinctive guy, and he normally wears like quite a smart jacket, and he's easy to pick out because he's tall and he's broad, and you can't see him immediately. And of course, as you get closer, you see he's still in the car, and he doesn't look to be moving.
I'm gonna move over to him and try and check if he's still alive.
Okay, you're very aware as you approach. You know cars. You know the risk of this going up is high.
I'm going to turn the engine off.
So you go in. What is the first? So the first thing you're gonna. I should say the windows are broken in his car, and there's some jagged glass left. It is at a slight angle, like it's ridden up slightly on one of the other cars. He is kind of slumped against the steering wheel, being partially like one shoulder held by the seatbelt. The airbag has activated, and is probably the reason he's alive.
Yeah.
You reach it. Are you going to try and reach? Because it's actually there's an airbag between you and the ignition. Are you going to try and get to that, or are you checking him?
I'm going to get to the ignition first because turn that thing off.
Okay. You reach in. You know what you're doing. You're able to get it. You turn off the car. You can distantly hear one of the other cars must still be active, but it's not this one. You are going to do what now?
I'm going to try and pull him out.
Okay. So he is belted in.
Yep.
What's your strategy? Like, how are you going to get him out of the car? He's not a small guy.
And first off, and use a little mouse tool to cut the belt.
Yep.
And then see if I can open one of the doors and try and haul him out through the door.
Okay. So the door is somewhat stuck, but you wrench it open, you cut the belt easily enough, and you start to haul him out. I'm going to ask you to make a strength and athletics roll, and it's to do because you are strong enough to lift him, because I know that Silas is a big guy. It's more about how quickly you can get him from the car away from this before something goes up.
5.
Okay, so I'm going to roll this d10, and what you want is for me to get higher than 5. If you want to willpower it, you let me know. Okay, so you haul this guy. Guy's heavy. You get him over your shoulder, but you're used to carrying heavy things, and you start hustling him away. People start. You can hear someone shouting about "Get away! Get away! It's gonna!" And then there's a. You feel the heat of the explosion on your back, and you're aware of being knocked forward by the force of the blast, and then everything goes black. When you come to, you are lying in a bed. You are aware of bandages. You are aware that it is dark wherever you are. And you feel sluggish, but you know that you're in a bed, and as your eyes start to adjust, you will see there is a little bit of light from various medical equipment that is on. There are no alarming noises coming from it though. And you will also be aware that there is somebody sitting at your bedside, but you can only see their kind of silhouette. But you can see enough to know that it is a man, that he seems quite tall. He's also quite broad. There's lots of broad men around. He's broad, but he's not quite as big as, say, Chris is. You don't think it's Chris. But it's definitely a guy, you think, with long hair, which is tied back. And more than that, it's hard to make out in the current light.
Do I know you?
Not yet, but you're gonna.
Have you seen my phone around? I gotta make a call.
I am sure you do, but I'd just sit comfortable for a wee bit. I thought I'd take the opportunity to talk to you.
I'm not sure I'm going anywhere for a little bit, so...
I'm not sure you are either.
Right.
So, my name's Finn.
I'm Silas.
Ah, no, I've been watching you for a while. Does that sound a bit creepy?
I mean, for the business I'm in, it's not really.
So it probably does sound a bit creepy. It's not. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not very good at doing this kind of thing in a not creepy way, if I'm honest. Anyway, my point is, I don't mean you any harm. In fact, quite the opposite. I've been keeping an eye on you for a while, and I wanted to say I was very impressed. I mean, not many people would risk their lives to save someone else. Oh, he's okay, by the way.
Oh, good. That's good to know. How long have I been out?
About 12 hours, something like that.
Fuck, I missed that shoot.
Well, maybe so, but you did save a man's life. You know, a lot of people say a lot of things, but in my experience, it's what you do that matters. That's what tells people who you really are, you know.
Thank you.
And I can't help but notice you spend a lot of your time doing nice things for other people.
Yeah, well, you're only young for so long, and yeah, you gotta help out those while you can. And not all of us make it to the elderly ages, so and you can learn a trick or two if you listen.
I like you, Silas. You've got a good heart, right? And that's rare. Even rarer now than it used to be. And you're right, you know, you have to think about how you're going to spend your time. Now, it seems to me in this world that a lot of people who don't deserve to have a lot of time get a lot of time, get a lot of easy things, you know. And I'd like to change that up a bit. I'd like to make it so that the people who would use that time in a better way would have that time. I'll cut to it. I'm here because I want to make you an offer.
Okay.
You know, if you think of it, I know you're an actor of some kind.
I'm trying. I'm a stunt guy at the moment, but
Don't you think it's a wee bit unfair that you take all the risks and he gets all the credit?
it's a bit of part and part. And there's I do get some credit, but not as much as I would like. And yeah, it's a mixed bag.
But you're saying you don't mind doing things sometimes when you don't get the credit, as long as it's done.
Yeah, and as well as I get paid at the I do still get paid at the end of the day, which is what I need in this life. So
Aye, that's true. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that maybe you're a good guy, and maybe, you know, you're doing all right, but you might benefit from a step up in life.
I'm interested.
Thought you might be. So what I'm offering is for you to have a lot more time than you're used to. And what I'm offering is for you to have a chance to make a difference in a way that maybe you can't right now. And if you want to use that time and that power to help people, it's fine. If you want to be part of something bigger, you know, something bigger than yourself, even better. Because that's what I'm interested in, you know. I won't lie to you. There'll be a few strings attached. You know how these things are.
There's always a catch to everything. That's what I was waiting for.
So there's a few catches to this one. You're not necessarily going to believe it, but it doesn't really matter too much. It's still true. So, here's how it is. I'm offering to give you Not like pretend power, like proper power. Like the power to change things. And I think that you might use that in a way I'd approve of. I'm offering you a chance to not get old.
I mean, everyone gets old.
Not everyone. Not me.
So if you're saying you don't get old, how old are you then? If that's the right question to ask.
I'm a lot older than I look. And I look not much older than you.
Right.
Now, only problem is, it's gonna hurt.
I believe the saying is no pain, no gain.
I thought I'd like you. So here's how it is. I don't want to do anything to you right now, because you're in a poor state of affairs, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to get better, and you're going to recover, and then I'm going to find you again, and I want you to think about it. Think about what I'm offering. Don't tell anyone. If you tell anyone, it won't go well.
Yes.
I'm not threatening you in a kind of spooky way, you know. I'm just saying.
It's the same thing like when going for a important audition, which I'm guessing is what you're doing. You're auditioning me.
Aye. Think of it like your life as an audition and you're just past it.
I can't deny I am liking what you're saying.
Good. All right. I'll be back in touch. I'll see you again. You decide if you're going to say yes or no.
Yeah.
All right? But this stays between us.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to sound creepy, but I will know if you tell anyone.
Yeah. I'm sure you have people who... I'm sure you have scouts and all that.
Aye, you could say that.
Yeah. Have you seen my hat, by the way?
Aye, yeah, we saved your hat.
Thank God for that.
You're like Indiana Jones or something. I quite like that.
I do like my hat. I'm quite upset not to have it.
Aye, your back's fucked, but your hat's fine. But your back will grow, new skin over time, I suppose.
Ah.
Anyway, I'd best be going. I'll see you later.
Thank you. You see my phone as well. I should really make calls.
I can't say I have, no.
Damn.
So he gets up and he goes. And you spend some time recovering from your injuries.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to do in the interim time?
I'm whilst focusing on the recovery, checking to see how Robert's recovery is doing.
Yeah, so you took the brunt of it. Robert's recovered a lot faster than you, and you will hear on the grapevine that he's been singing your praises. There's been a little story. It's been a little bit of media attention that you were like this heroic guy saving this thing. That basically, as much as it has put back schedules and things, Robert won't hear of anything, so your position is safe. And whilst many people have been put out on a cross about it, your job is safe. And you are something of a minor hero, and you certainly have the producer's eye. Should you choose to use that at some point, your wounds will heal.
Yeah.
And is there anything else you wish to do, or important things you want to kind of get involved in at this point?
I'm just checking with parents, of course. Probably holding the phone away from the mother at what wasn't going on.
Well, of course, your parents will come up to visit you in hospital as
Yeah.
soon as they find out.
Yeah.
They will spend lots of time with you. Jenny will come to visit.
Yeah.
And you will soon recover and everything, but they were all very worried about you and stuff. Your dad will reassure you that he's taking care of your car. So you don't need to worry about that. And then a day will come where you will meet Finn again. And he will invite you to basically he'll show up in a car. When you see him, you'll see he's got kind of a neatly trimmed beard. He has got kind of browny blonde hair. He's quite attractive. He's not built, but he's broad, and there's just something about him that he just seems very solid in some way. But yeah, one evening he will come. There is a guy. You're not sure if it's a cabbie or not, but it's a guy driving, and he'll invite you to come for a ride with him.
Make sure I check schedules. Make sure I'm free in the evening before agreeing.
Make sure
I check my calendar. Just
yeah. It's not when you've got a shoot on or anything like that. So you go for a ride, and he says, "So, did you think about my offer?"
Yes, and although quite vague, I'm certainly interested.
Aye. So, and as the car's driving, he says, "Let me put it into words you'll get. What I'm offering you is a chance to not get old. I'm offering you a chance to be stronger and faster than you've ever been before. I'm offering you a chance to have people notice you if you want, or not notice you if you don't want. I'm telling you that you can." It's so hard to put into words, because, see, there's so much that I know that you don't know. It's difficult. But I guess what I'm saying is you should trust me. I'm going to make you part of something bigger and better. I'm going to give meaning to your life, right? I know this sounds like a terrible scam, but it's not.
And if I'm saying yes, what are you wanting from me?
Aye, what I want from you is service.
Right.
Not me personally, not like be my slave. I mean service to an idea. I mean, sometimes we're going to have to do things, important things, and you'll have to step up. You seem like a man who steps up when he needs it. I'm very impressed. You saved that man. You risked your life for that man. You could have been anybody. You saved him. Right. Not many people do that. I'm very impressed with that.
Thank you.
So, and that's not all. I mean, I've watched you. You help people and you're not expecting stuff back. That's the kind of attitude I want. Someone who believes in something, has values, ethics. So, I am being vague, I suppose. But that's what it is. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I mean that. It's going to get weird. Right? You may not always like it, but...
It's the same thing as show business. And the shoot I did a few days before that accident. You're not expecting a weird costume guy, and sometimes you're not. They want even the stuntman to be unprepared for the costume coming out. So,
right,
it gets weird.
I want you to remember what you said there. I like it. You might feel a bit different when we're done, but I like it. Okay, so you travel for a little while until you get out to what seems to be like some kind of converted farm. There's like what looks like a large kind of barn building, but it doesn't look like it's just for animals. It's been turned into a dwelling. And there is also what looks like what might once have been maybe a windmill, but it's been converted into what now looks like a tower. And there is a small lake here, and there are woods kind of in the background. You're a good 45 minutes to an hour drive out of Oxford at this point. And he'll off to take you in.
Sure.
And he'll take you into I would say quite a nice room, but it's actually quite a spare room, and lots of things. You can see where there are marks where there might normally be furniture, but stuff's been cleared out, so it's just a fairly plain stone room, and it's in this tower that he takes you into. And he says, "I'm just giving us a bit of room, just in case we need it." So, the driver, by the way, hasn't followed you in.
No.
He shuts the door behind him. He says, "You ready? You might want to take your hat off for this. I know you like your hat."
I'm sure I'll take off. Is there somewhere I can put jacket?
Yeah, you could find a space to put your stuff.
Very carefully put the hat down.
Says, right, now, technically speaking, probably you'll wish I'd explained everything first, but honestly, you wouldn't believe it. So, you ready?
For what?
He says, for this. And he smiles at you, and a couple of fangs slide out.
Okay, that's a nice prop. Do you know T? I'm guessing. She's awesome with the props.
I don't know, T. I'm sorry. He walks over to you.
They look so real. It's phenomenal.
He says, "Hey, come closer. You'll see how good they are."
Yeah.
So you have a look. They look really, really. I mean, they look. I mean, you've seen a lot of stuff that looks really good for the camera at distance, but to get something that looks good in close up is work. Particularly because you can look around it. It's not just for one angle or one shot. And he puts his hands on your shoulders, and he says, "Here we go." And then he sinks his teeth in. And it's weird because obviously someone has put something sharp into your flesh, which is not pleasant. But like a beat after it, you feel the most incredible rush you've ever felt. Like, that makes you think, are these like syringes? Have they injected drugs into you? And he drinks and drinks, and you feel that kind of this heady high, but also dimly aware of blood leaving your body, but not really aware. It's all a bit of a... And he puts his arms around you and he kind of sinks down, so you're kind of sitting, like you're kind of on his knees. And he's got your body propped up and he's holding your head. And at one point he stops what he's doing, but you're still a bit out of it. And he says, "I won't go anywhere. I'll stay with you every step of the way." He says, "Don't worry."
What is that? Yeah.
He says, "I'm going to make you into something better. But first, I've got to destroy what's here. I'm sorry, it's the only way." And he sinks his teeth in again. And you feel the blood leave you. And he holds you. And in kind of like in an embrace. And he drinks and drinks until everything goes. And then at some point, you taste something on your tongue. And it's the most incredible thing you've tasted. It is kind of bitter, but it is also sweet. And it is something a part of you doesn't want to swallow, but a part of you really does. And as it travels down, it's like someone lights a fire inside you. And when you spring awake, you're not really thinking at all about what you're doing. You're just thinking about one thing. And that is that you are empty and you need to be full. Can you make for me a willpower roll based on your current willpower?
With humanity?
You're unspent with humanity.
Oh, that is 4.
Okay. So you kind of spring alert, but he's got you, and his grip is it's like it's gentle, but it doesn't budge. And you're not weak. But you spring up and you are kind of trying to find the thing that you need, and you're aware that your mouth feels strange, and you're aware that you want to feed, and you can hear his voice, and he just talks softly, and he says, "It's going to be okay, it's going to be okay." And he talks to you, and he soothes you, and that panicky hunger doesn't go, but that unexpectedness, that being caught by surprise, fades, and he talks to you in a soft voice, and he tells you what you've become, and he tells you what you're going to do together, and he tells you that everything is going to be different now. And that is where we're going to stop. So thank you very much for listening and watching. And if you would like to find out more about what happens to Silas, then please tune in to Season 1, Episode 1 of Blood on the Tamesis, coming soon.